Hey Leamons, welcome back to another video of mine. So this is a video topic I've been wanting to talk about for a while now. I just haven't had the time until now. The Animal Jam community is a big part of the game, with so many different topics surrounding it. So I just had to cover it all in one big video. Even if it ends up being longer than my usual videos, I just had to put it all into one. Animal Jam is an online multiplayer game developed by the company WildWorks. The game is full of people from all over the world playing as virtual animals, playing mini-games, dressing their animals and pets, trading, collecting rare items, chatting with other players, and so much more. And not to mention the fact Animal Jam has a whole online community on social media platforms, mostly on Instagram and YouTube, but it's starting to have a bit of a community even on TikTok and some other platforms. It's fun to have a game to play on and also be able to communicate with the people playing it over on these social media platforms. Overall, Animal Jam has a lot to do in its game, and lots to talk about with other players. Some of it being more on the toxic side, of course, such as how some people choose to scam or hack accounts, and how people getting hacked and scammed have to deal with the pain, or how some people will bully and make fun of other players, saying terrible things to others for no reason at all, which does make this game sound horrible. But the thing is, Animal Jam isn't perfect. It has its cons, but a lot of online games have their cons. Just in general, there's usually pros and cons with everything. As long as the cons don't outweigh the pros too much, then I don't see an issue with people sticking around Animal Jam. And of course, it's all up to one's personal experience. If you experience a lot of negativity of Animal Jam, it's probably best you leave the game, as you shouldn't stick around it if you're getting more bad from the game than good. But if you experience more positive outcomes, then I don't see the issue of staying. Because Animal Jam is still a great game in the end of the day, one that people have lots of fun playing and make many great memories on. Everyone will have different experiences, and that will determine how they feel about Animal Jam, whether it's worth it to stick around the community. There's a lot that sums up what the Animal Jam community is as a whole, and I'm going to get into each of those categories. Some of them being more toxic parts of the games, or struggles of the game, some being the addictions and positives of the game, just anything that makes up the community as a whole. Scammers and hackers. Scamming and hacking on Animal Jam. How could I start with anything other than this topic? Also, yes, I'm combining scamming and hacking together. They are similar enough where I'm able to do so. I swear scamming and hacking have to be one of the most known things about the game. Some people who don't even play Animal Jam just know scamming is a crucial part to the game. On Animal Jam, some players choose to scam, meaning they trick other players into giving them rare items. This can happen in many ways, as the ways to scam are endless. But in the end, the same result happens. Someone gets scammed, and it's a terrible, terrible feeling. To not only lose your item, but know that you were gullible enough to fall for the scam. Some scammers will brag about how they successfully scammed and then proceed to make fun of the players they scam. And then some scammers just immediately run away from their victim and act as if they aren't a scammer, playing the victim card whenever they get accused in public on the game. Either way, they are still a scammer. Unfortunately, scammers have gone better at scamming over the years, going as far to create spare accounts to scam on, so that their main account will remain anonymous as a scammer. Hackers also have a more masked identity when doing their crime, as they just hack the accounts using hacking websites and other methods, and then trade the items to their main account. There's no factual way to tell who hacked you, unless the victim literally gave somebody their account information, and that's how they got hacked. The problem is, Animal Jam is full of children, so a lot of the time people are scamming and hacking children, which is just terrible. It likely hurts these kids to the point of crying. Kids are gullible. Older players are taking advantage of the fact by scamming them. Scammers claim their victims are at fault for being too gullible, but how can you expect a child to comprehend what a scam is? Scammers have the worst defense for their actions, and it really shows. Although, the biggest issue with the scamming and hacking is the selling of the scammed and hacked items. The items being stolen are rare items, ones that have value. Believe it or not, people will pay real money for these items, which selling and buying items is against the Animal Jam rules, but people will do it anyway. And the scammers and hackers have figured this out. They know people will buy the items. That's the problem. A lot of the time, the items being sold were ones that were scammed and hacked. That's why those selling accounts always have new stock. How else would they be getting endless amounts of rare items? So basically, these people are literally just making money off scamming and hacking, hurting others to make money. It's disgusting. And the players buying these items aren't really at fault. They don't know these are hacked or scammed items, but they are just allowing scammers and hackers to keep on stealing items. Because if there are people buying items, there will always be a reason for players to keep on scamming and hacking on Animal Jam. Not to mention the fact it screws up the rarity system in Animal Jam. Hacking inactive accounts brings way more rare items into the game, making them, well, not as rare, and unfair to anyone who actually worked hard for these rare items. It's all messed up, and scamming and hacking is definitely a bigger issue than what people even assume. The hate against AJHQ. The hate against Animal Jam HQ. This is a massive part of the Animal Jam community. It seems as if there's always reasons to hate on the game, and hate on the company that made it, which is WildWorks, or Animal Jam HQ to be more precise. And I wouldn't say it's all unnecessary hate either. Animal Jam HQ has done some genuinely awful things over the years, as to why I've covered so many videos on Animal Jam HQ. One of the biggest reasons for hating on Animal Jam seems to be the fact that they are money hungry in many ways. For instance, people aren't a fan of how they upped the sapphire price for the new animals. It went up from 150 to 180 sapphires, with no announcement on why. It just happened. They used to at least give us reasons on why, like when they raised membership's price, they did an announcement post explaining everything, which raising the price of membership was another thing people got upset at Animal Jam for. People are also complaining about their bundle deals that are priced way higher than they should be for what you're actually getting. Some of the bundles are just so unfair and not worth purchasing at all. But players can't help but buy them even if they feel like it's unfair, since some of these bundles, they made it the only way to get the item, such as the wish tokens for the unicorns. There's also the reskins of older animals. People don't like how Animal Jam brings those, as they're pretty much the exact same as the original animal, but with some cool effects slapped on. They literally brought like 4 different reskin eagles. That, in my opinion, was a little unnecessary. Or even the fact Animal Jam pretty much added gambling with their pet tokens, as some pets have rarity status in the game, making them valuable, or having wish tokens for random features and colors for their unicorns, making people addicted to buying and using tokens to try to get said rare pets. I think where the Animal Jam is money hungry label started from was when WildWorks attempted to make an NFT game. They had created a game called Feral, which is supposed to be a mature version of Animal Jam. Different enough to let it stand on its own, but similar in concept. You could play as mythical creatures, collect items, and go on adventures. There was a player base starting up for Feral, and WildWorks decided, out of nowhere, they'd shut down the game and then use all their assets from Feral for their new game called Cinder, which was an NFT game. People from Animal Jam and Feral were furious. They were mad at WildWorks for creating an NFT game because, well, it's a little ironic. WildWorks, the company that made Animal Jam, an educational game about animals and the environment, a company that used to be partnered with National Geographic. Now WildWorks was making an NFT game. People were not pleased, and everyone called WildWorks money hungry for abandoning the game that they had just released to just use its assets for an NFT game. I feel like ever since this scandal, people have just called Animal Jam money hungry because they are associated with this NFT game, which was being made by the same company at the time. Animal Jam is now owned by Nazra, as WildWorks was bought for $10.4 million, for anyone who didn't know that. But this all still happened, leaving a bad taste in everyone's mouths, and ever since then, people think Animal Jam is just money hungry. Another reason why people hate on Animal Jam is the data breach. Animal Jam had a data breach, which basically means Animal Jam's user data was stolen by an attack on their server vendor. The stuff that got stolen was records that include the email addresses of the parent accounts for Animal Jam, the parents' accounts being whatever email you used for your Animal Jam account, and any other data from that email. So, you can imagine this was really bad. Players all around the world had to quickly change emails and passwords for their accounts. People were really mad at Animal Jam for allowing this to happen, because this doesn't really happen to other games. Animal Jam's security would have had to been really, really low. So people blame them for this data breach, and that's fair enough. They should have had more tightened security on their end. I hope Animal Jam HQ learned their lesson after this and actually made their game more secure. Another thing people hate on Animal Jam HQ for is the fact they've allowed predators to be on the game, which are players who have acted inappropriately with children on the game. Some have even made inappropriate masterpieces for the game, and somehow they get approved, which is weird since it's hard to get anything slightly inappropriate or graphic get approved on Animal Jam. I'm talking about one player in particular, called High-in-One. I've already covered him in many videos before, and I don't really want to talk about him for that long in this video, but in short note, Animal Jam HQ would not ban this guy. No matter how many players would beg Animal Jam to remove him, they just wouldn't. We had proof that he was unsafe to the Animal Jam community, and regardless, he made inappropriate art. That itself should warrant a ban. I should clear this up. If he posted his art elsewhere, whatever. People can make that kind of art, there's no issue there. But drawing and publishing it on Animal Jam, a game full of children, was disgusting. It was just weird why he was allowed on the game. The only times he was ever gone from the game when himself deleted his account. So it's a bit suspicious on Animal Jam HQ's part. And people were mad at Animal Jam for not listening. People tried creating awareness posts and videos about these kind of people to help the community be more safe. And Animal Jam HQ had the gall to call it drama and not awareness. They made a whole drama llama post. And then they had to delete the post because of all the backlash they got. But even if you delete something, it's never truly gone or forgotten. People will remember, and it gets referenced every now and then, because Animal Jam HQ practically said the serious issues on the game are just drama. It showed us how they viewed the situation, and it was very disappointing. Lastly, the other amounts of hate towards Animal Jam HQ are just for random, sometimes unnecessary things. For example, not liking a new animal they bring, thinking they use the same animal model for another animal, them not helping you out with a minor issue, Animal Jam having glitches in the game, literally just anything like that. It's not on the same level as the other stuff I talked about, but it still is hate coming from the Animal Jam community, and I believe it's because of all the terrible things they've done. It builds up and makes players upset, meaning people are getting mad at Animal Jam HQ for random small things, sometimes even stuff that's a bit unnecessary. And you can't really blame people, at least I don't. After everything Animal Jam has done, it makes people's anger at the company sort of justified. Drama and bullying. The drama and bullying in Animal Jam. So, this is a bad one. With all communities comes bullying or drama to some degree. To me, drama and bullying are separate issues. Bullying is going after somebody who didn't do anything bad to you. Harassing a person for no reason. Drama is typically where both sides can be at fault to some degree. First, I'll start talking about bullying. Some of the bullying happens on game, where people will just pick on somebody. Maybe the player isn't rare enough, and that somehow warrants a reason to make fun of them, laughing at how they're unrare. I've honestly never come across that, but I've been told it happens. But majority of the bullying happens on Animal Jam's social medias, like Instagram, YouTube, Discord, TikTok, any of those platforms. And since there's no Animal Jam safe chat online, you can imagine just how worse the bullying can be taken. Not only do people deal with others saying hurtful things, but in some cases, people have dealt with getting sent inappropriate artwork of Animal Jam stuff, getting threats about being hacked, getting doxxed, getting harassed, being impersonated, or having rumors spread about them that aren't true. I can confirm that almost all of these have happened to me at some point, and to other people in the community. And these can really hurt people, and quite honestly stress them out. The fact these are even happening is disappointing. Don't forget, this game is meant for a younger audience. Yet, some of the worst, most foul bullying happens. I mean, no wonder Animal Jam has a safe filter chat on the game. But Animal Jam HQ can't protect what happens over on social media, and that's the worst part of it. Now, let's get into the drama in Animal Jam. This game has a lot of drama. It just takes people disagreeing with each other or having an argument to form long-lasting rivalries, continuously finding reasons to expose said person or poke fun of them, in the forms of Instagram posts, YouTube videos, or showing other people conversations from the drama. So this usually happens more on the social media side of Animal Jam. People will create posts about other jammers exposing them for being quote-unquote a bad person, when really half the time we're just looking at screenshots of their personal arguments and drama, or in some cases we are looking at old stuff the person did or said like years ago. And when looking at each side of the drama, both people can seem wrong in their own way. Honestly, this bothers me, especially when it's clear both people have been rude to each other, and there's no one person that's better. I don't like picking sides a lot of the time, as I do try to see both sides of a situation, and drama just gets messy. Being involved is never fun. I've had people try to start stuff with me in the past, and I almost always try to talk things out with them in a nice manner, and no matter what they might say about me. Heck, I've made friendships with people who originally tried to start drama with me. I believe you can try to have a conversation, or making up with the person. I mean, it's not always the case. Some people won't be so accepting, but you might as well try, instead of continuously attacking and fighting with a person. And if they don't care, and they keep on trying to start beef with you, just ignore them. It's all you can really do, because eventually, they won't care to argue with you anymore. When you show them you don't care, they'll also stop caring. Jambassadors. Another big part of the Animal Jam community is the Jambassadors, the content creators in Animal Jam who represent Animal Jam HQ. They help spread positivity and creativity in the community. Usually these are big creators in the community, or they have been in the past, because the recent Jambassadors are a little lesser known, which I assume is because Animal Jam just isn't as popular as it used to be. Either way, Jambassadors are content creators that many jammers look up to. I will say for the most part, Jambassadors sort of just mind their own business, post their creative, positive content for the game, although there is some of them that have been in drama, or said/did some questionable things. There's one that has been known to support High-In-One. I'm not going to name names, but that does bother me to some degree. They have had masterpieces from High-In-One in their den time to time, and you'd think a Jambassador would know better than to support someone of that nature. Of course, there's been other things, stuff Jambassadors have said or done that were rude or in some cases inappropriate. I won't get into it. I really don't want any Jambassadors being directly targeted in this video. One common thing about the new Jambassadors that actually wasn't as common with the old ones is the constant positivity they spread. It's almost a bit much at times, and in some cases it's a little bit toxic positivity. Every single post they make is a positive take, a positive message, and it's a little annoying, and I'm trying to say this in the best way I can. Not everything in Animal Jam is perfect. There is some good, but there is also a lot of bad in the game. And they just ignore the negatives, almost like push it aside and only talk about the positives. There's literally dangerous people AJHQ lets stay on their game, even after the evidence on them. But no, let's just make an Instagram post to congratulate Animal Jam for being so great and enforcing such safety on their game. That's just a situation of many, to further demonstrate my point. Positive messages and takes can be great, but not when it's every single post, every single take. I see that as sucking up to Animal Jam HQ and not having an opinion of your own, which doesn't impress me, not one bit. What is impressive though, is someone who gives a bold take on Animal Jam. Something genuine. I love seeing that, because it's not common in this community. Again, I'm not trying to put down anyone in particular. In fact, I think many of the Jambassadors are kind, great people, but I've just noticed many of them do this, and I'm not a fan of the positivity posts. I will say, Jambassadors do get an unfair amount of hate against them. When I say hate, I don't just mean people not enjoying their content, I mean people going out of their way to make fun and bully these people. Jambassadors that don't even do anything wrong will get backlash for pretty much nothing, and it's a little unnecessary. They're just trying to make content for Animal Jam. A lot of them aren't trying to do anything inherently bad. I understand the complaint about Jambassadors not speaking up on huge issues in Animal Jam and making spams of positive content. I literally just explained how I dislike that. Although I'm not going to go bully and attack Jambassadors for that, I can state my opinion and simply leave it at that. And Animal Jam chose them to be a representative for the game. So if Jambassadors bashed on Animal Jam, that wouldn't make much sense. With that said, I do believe they could give more of an opinion instead of just constant positivity, but I understand why they wouldn't try to get too involved. They don't have to spread awareness on the dangerous players in the game or talk about a data breach that Animal Jam was exposed to. That's fine, but maybe they shouldn't congratulate HHQ for keeping the game so safe, because that's a little bit misleading. Supposedly Animal Jam HQ doesn't actually restrict them from making content like this, so that means it's just the choice of the Jambassadors. I know this because Jambassadors have said this is the case, so Animal Jam doesn't force them to make their positive content. They do that with their own free will. Either way, if you don't like their constant positivity, you don't have to follow or subscribe to these people. But giving them hate and attacking them is not necessary in the slightest and definitely is an issue in this community. Just ignore it. Let them be. Let them make their Animal Jam content. You're not always going to like everybody, but trying to hurt them is actually wrong. Rarity/Myshop Problems. In Animal Jam, a big part of the game is the trading and rarity of the items you can collect. If items didn't have a rare value to them, trading would not be as popular or addictive as it is. People get so worked up about these rare items. It's actually insane. Trading for hours on end, sometimes not even getting anything new, each and every day. There's even designated trading dens, like Fancy Shorts, for example. I can't even deny the fact when I first started playing Animal Jam, I got hooked because of the trading aspect. I enjoyed playing with friends and doing minigames, but I also really enjoyed the trading part of Animal Jam, and it felt like I couldn't ever quit because of it. There was always an item I was searching for. When I finally got it, I'd get this super excited feeling and be so happy. I'd wear the item and feel so proud of myself. Then, just move on to trying to find a different item, and the cycle would keep on repeating and repeating. Thus, I would constantly trade on Animal Jam. This wasn't just the case for me. This is what happens for a lot of players on Animal Jam. The trading feature is addictive. It keeps you glued to Animal Jam. The desire to have a rare item can be really powerful. That's why when people get scammed or hacked, there's such an emotional response. We get so attached to these valuable items that when we lose them, we can cry, we can get upset. That's also why people pay real money for these items. Players will sell rare items for a lot of money, because there are people out there willing to pay good money for them. People profit off Animal Jam's items, which is ridiculous. Then Myshops became a thing, changing the game of rare items in Animal Jam. Now, not only could you trade for items, but you could purchase them with your sapphires. People will look through these Myshops for hours, looking for good deals and good buys. Similar to how people will trade for hours on end. Players will buy something from a Myshop and resell it for higher to profit and make more sapphires. Or they'll do masterpiece commissions and sell them in their Myshops. Which is a big reason why Animal Jam HQ doesn't make much money from their game anymore. People can make sapphires from using the Myshops, so they don't need to buy sapphires from the premium shop anymore. They don't even need to buy the optional membership from the premium shop. You can just buy that with sapphires that you can get quite easily now. So again, that's just another example of how easy it is to get sapphires and in-game membership. Whenever Animal Jam adds anything where you actually have to pay money, people outrage. And I agree, it's annoying, but you can see why they'd make this decision. People do not buy from the premium shop as much as they used to. It's Animal Jam HQ's fault for adding Myshops as a feature, because they can't really remove it now, but it really does hinder the game's revenue. It makes it so people do not have to spend as much money, or money period, on the game, which is an issue for a company that needs to make a certain amount of money for their game. Animal Jam vs. Animal Jam Classic. Animal Jam and Animal Jam Classic have this unspoken rivalry. Players from both games aren't actually fighting or mad at each other, but there's always small disagreements about each of the games. People think Animal Jam Classic's 2D designs look way better than the 3D design of Animal Jam Mobile, and I can sort of understand where they are coming from. Typically when games move from 2D to 3D, people aren't as stoked about the decision. Webkins, Club Penguin, and even Pokemon to name a few. Taking a game that was originally 2D and making it 3D usually loses a certain charm or quality the game had. Also, I must say, I do like the 2D look of Animal Jam better. Although, I prefer how fast Animal Jam Mobile's game runs. Classic is super laggy and slow, and I don't even enjoy playing a game that slow. It just makes the overall experience worse. Another thing is how the animals in Mobile seem more lifelike, with them always moving in the dress-up mode, and even when you click on a player's animal icon. In Classic, these just stay frozen, and I don't like that as much. Animal Jam Mobile just seems a little more polished in that retrospect. Nostalgia is another big reason why Classic players like their game better than Mobile. They grew up with Animal Jam Classic, and so they are going to love it more. They've had so many valuable memories on Classic that they'll never be able to have on Animal Jam Mobile. They could have gone rare items on Classic, bought in animals and dents, and those things will live on Animal Jam Classic, not Mobile. People complained animals look worse when they went to 3D, and for some that may be true. Wolves do look way better in Classic than they do in Mobile. Although, I'd have to argue, seals look way better on mobile than they do in Classic. And I can't help but think, perhaps nostalgia ties into the opinions of the Classic players. They almost believe Classic is superior in every way because of their love for the game growing up. And I can't even argue that. Like, that's relatable. Sometimes you just have so much nostalgia for a game or a thing that any new rendition sucks to you. There's also the fact that Animal Jam Classic doesn't get as many updates as mobile receives. The game is almost shafted so mobile can get all the focus by Animal Jam HQ. The reason being that Animal Jam Mobile just makes more money. And clearly, they'd prioritize a game that makes them more money for their company. Although, Classic players are upset their game doesn't get any new updates and new features, whereas the mobile version gets an update with new content every single month. And overall, just more love. They even changed the name of the computer Animal Jam to Animal Jam Classic, and the mobile version from Animal Jam to just Animal Jam. And even though I'm an Animal Jam mobile player, I can totally see why people would be upset with that. Burnout/quitting. Animal Jam can be an addictive game. As I've mentioned before, people really get into certain aspects of the game, and it holds them down to the Animal Jam community. Trading, making Animal Jam art, going through Myshops for hours on end. Potentially some players are making video content for hours on end. It is mentally draining. Sometimes you don't even want to play the game anymore, but you find yourself unable to quit. You're burnt out, and you're tired of Animal Jam. But again, it is extremely hard to stop playing this game. People will say they've quit, then a month later just return to Animal Jam. People will want to quit, but can't come to deleting the app off their phone. People want to leave the community, a lot of times due to the toxicity and AJHQ's bad decisions, but people have a hard time leaving because of all the friends and memories they've made along the way. Despite it potentially being a toxic community, some people do eventually quit, but still keep up with Animal Jam's news and drama, because for some reason, this community is interesting to keep up with. It could be because of how negative and toxic it can be, which is sad, but people tend to want to hear negatives over positives, without even knowing it themselves. And in a weird, sick way, this game, this community, is interesting for how awful the community/company's decisions can be. And that is sad. It is hard to leave the game, the community. Once you're in it, it's like you're stuck. You'll have some really great experiences in Animal Jam now and then, but you'll also experience some really terrible things too. And all in all, that's why it's so hard to quit. Even after all the burnout, all the toxicity, people still somehow play Animal Jam. I mean, I do. I love this game, and I couldn't ever see myself leaving the community. I've made amazing friends and memories along the way. There's people out there who enjoy the content I make for the game. I get to have a voice and share my opinions about Animal Jam. And not to mention, all my characters I've created for the game. So, I don't plan on leaving the community anytime soon. But what about you guys? Do you ever want to quit Animal Jam? What do you think about this game? What are your main thoughts after this discussion of mine? Let me know in the comment section, as I'm curious to hear your thoughts, your opinions. They matter because you guys are what build up the Animal Jam community. And with that, that's the end of this Animal Jam community video. It took me a while to create this video, but it was something I really wanted to put out there for the community of Animal Jam. If you think I missed anything major about the community, please let me know in the comment section. Please like the video if you made it this far, as I worked really hard on it. It's been Leamon Puppy. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys all next time.